If you are leading quality or stars performance at a health plan, the MY 2025 retrospective season will define your 2026 success. Plans that wait until chart chase season to react always lose ground, wasted resources, incomplete records, and missed opportunities. So today I'm breaking down a practical Q4 2025 playbooks to set you up for a higher performance retro season. Now, this might be a longer video, but if you stay with me until the end, you will walk away with actionable insights and real-world strategies that top performing plans are utilizing right now to win their retro season in 2026. I promise, no flops, no filler, just proven tactics that you can implement immediately. Let's dive in. I'm Dr. Sa, or you can call me Peter, and I share data-driven strategies that help health plans optimize performance and also quality professionals grow their careers without the fluff. So in this session, I'm walking you step by step through how to close 2025 strong and also prepare for a successful 2026 chase season. Before we dive into tactics, let's pause and level set. There are a couple reasons why Q4 2025 matters so much when it comes to your MY 2025 chart chase season. Here are the reasons why. The retrospective hybrid chart chase season you will run in 2026 is not about your 2026 data. It's all about closing care gaps from MY 2025. So if evidence for services delivered in 2025 isn't already in your admin data, you would need to retrieve and also abstract those charts in Q1 and Q2 of 2026. That means that the work you do in Q4 of 2025 directly impacts how large your chase list will be and also how costly and complex your retrieval will become. The work you do in Q4 also impacts how successful you will be at improving your measure scores, whether Medicaid or Medicare or HEDIS or STAR scores. It will impact. The second reason why Q4 matter because any gaps left open now will be on your chase list later. That means every missing lab, immunization record, or even screening reports in MY 2025 data that you do not close now will turn into a manual chase list later. In 2026, you have to pursue those opportunities. And manual chases are expensive, as you probably know, right? Retrieval vendors cost $35 plus per chart. On average, it can take between 14 to 30 days turnaround per provider to retrieve the charts. Manual chases are risky. If an evidence or if a critical evidence cannot be retrieved in time, you lose the numerator credit permanently. So the fewer gaps you carry into January 2026, the faster and the cheaper your retro season would be. The third reason why Q4 of 2025, measurement year 2025, matter is because regulatory and audit expectations are tighter than ever. When preparing for MY 2025 retro season, audit readiness is no longer optional. It has to be baked into your Q4 2025 strategy. Here's why. NCQ and CMS are raising the bar. Denominator accuracy is under more scrutiny than ever. So if your member eligibility logic is wrong, you're going to chase ineligible members or even miss on eligible ones. So you need to bake your audit readiness in your Q4 strategy because during the hybrid validation, auditors are now sampling eligibility. And if your denominator logic fails, your charts are going to be thrown out. Documentation standards have also tightened. Every evidence must be traceable. They must be audit ready and sourced from validated source. Supplemental data and CCD feeds must be audit ready. Many health plans lean heavily on digital supplemental data and CCD feeds to reduce the chase volume, which makes perfect sense. But here's the issue. If that data isn't validated before, PSV audit, and let's say NCQA or your auditor happen to strip it out, that means your chase list will suddenly expand mid-season, which will create cost spikes and also retrieval backlogs. So Q4 of 2025 is the time for you to validate, confirm supplemental data sources are approved and mapped correctly. Also, if possible, run internal PSV, right? Or pre-checks before January. So if there are any issues, you're able to address them right before the real PSV audit. And also build an audit ready trail now, not during chart chase in 2026. The idea of we will fix it in spring doesn't work anymore. So plans that delay denominator validations or CCD checks and supplemental approvals until after the chase list drops are getting burned. You might encounter failed audits, which means stripped numerators. You might end up ballooning your chase list, which will lead to higher vendor cost. It might also impact your stars or your HEDIS performance because the evidence that you thought counted did not survive PSV audit. How this impact MY 2025 retro readiness? The tighter regulatory environment directly impacts your chase list size, your chase cost, and as well as your measure rates. So if you validate early in Q4 of 2025, your denominator becomes accurate. Your chase lists are clean. Your digital supplemental data is locked down, reducing any unnecessary manual retrieval. Your audit binder becomes ready, so there are no surprises later for you. But if you wait until February of 2026 or March 2026, then expect some inflated chase lists, higher retrieval cost, or even lower measure performance scores. Let's compare two plans that started with similar data quality challenges. Plan A started their prep in Q4 of 2024. They began denominator validation and chase list modeling in October 2024. By January 2025, their chase lists were finalized and address gaps were cleaned. They were able to prioritize digital retrieval first and led to 50% of charts preloaded even before the chase season, right? So this resulted in a 90% retrieval completion by May of 2025, and they were able to hit 4+ stars in several key measures. On the other hand, Plan B waited until February of 2025, led to delayed chase prep until after the chase list dropped. They found incomplete CCDs, thousands of missing addresses, and multiple denominator discrepancies. What was the result? Retrieval vendors struggled to keep up. Backlog exploded. They were able to retrieve only 62% and lost a full star on 2 hybrid measures. Winning plans start early. Q4 of 2025 is where retro season is either won or lost. So if you wait until February or March, you are already behind. And your chase season might cost more, might take longer, and yield fewer results. This is a Q4 2025 action plan framework. And this is the meat of your playbook. I will break it into 5 pillars. So pillar 1 is data governance or data readiness. And I've talked about this, but I want to dive in a little deeper here. Before you start thinking about chase list or abstraction stuffing, your data foundation has to be rock solid. Weak data governance is the #1 cause of bloated chase list or even failed audits and missed opportunities. So ensure that you validate provider rosters and attributions. And you can start by auditing provider rosters in Q4 of 2025. Confirm the active and terminated providers. If they are no longer providers that are active in your plan, identify those providers so they are not mapped to your chases. Validate facility addresses or demographics, whether phone numbers or contact points. Verify member to provider attributions and PCP assignments. This matters because inaccurate raster or chase list will drive denominator errors. So you end up chasing wrong charts and waste time and waste resources or retrieval resources. The best practice is to reconcile your provider files with credentialing or claims and provider directory data. Ensure that you flag any discrepancies now before even the hybrid measure denominator is logged in. Also, confirm the stability of your digital data exchange channels. Here's why. Since health plans are increasingly shifting to digital first retrieval strategies to reduce the chase burden, it is critical to test your digital pipelines in Q4. You don't want surprises mid-season. Validate clinical data exchange channels such as your EMR integrations with large provider groups, your clinical document feeds, your CCDs or CCDAs, or your FHIR APIs, your HIEs, if they are available, your direct provider system portals. If these feeds break or lag, the missing records would inflate your chase list, right? So you want to avoid any surprises. Every unretrieved digital record is one more manual request, one more manual fax, or one more on-site visit that you need to do. A pro tip here is to set a Q4 goal to have at least 40 to 50% of your chase ready charts pre-retrieved digitally before January. The more you close up front, the less pressure on vendors and also abstractors later. If possible, build a Q4 data quality dashboard. For instance, suppose you discover 22% of your HbA1c gap stems from missing lab results. If you ignore it until April, those members will fall on your manual chase list, costing you between $35 to $50 per chart. But if you resolve it now by fixing the lab mappings or repairing the data feeds, you avoid hundreds of unnecessary retrievals during the chart chase. So a pro tip here is to treat your data like it's headed for audit court. Every denominator and every supplemental record must be defensible. If you wouldn't bet your HEDIS scores or your star ratings on it, fix it now in Q4, not in Q1 of 2026. Pillar 2, build your chase list strategy. Your chase list is your entire retro season. A bad list is equal to wasted time, wasted cost, and failed HEDIS scores. On the other hand, a smart, prioritized, validated chase list is the single most critical success factor for MY2025 retro season. Now, here are some things you need to consider. Validate your HEDIS eligibility logic. And again, going back to denominator integrity. So before you even start pulling your member list, log down your denominator accuracy. Rank members by likelihood of closures. Not all gaps are created equal. A lot of plans waste enormous time chasing low yield charts first. So try to avoid that. And here is how to rank your members. Tier 1 could be compliant ready members. These are members that likely have compliance evidence based on historical abstraction success or prior seasons. EMR connectivity or CCD feeds or direct EMR access, provider performance history. An example, let's say if Dr. Smith's clinic was 92% compliant last season, rank his patient top priority. Right? Or tier 2 could be high probability closures. And these are members with recent visit but incomplete supplemental data, which are typically closable within the first 30 days if prioritized. Your third tier could be low yield or complex members. And these are members with fragmented care or multiple EMR issues. Important, in February, don't waste time chasing your tier 3 members. Defer them to late stage during your retrieval. Why this works is because you will hit numerator gains faster. You will maximize resources efficiency, and also it sets you up for audit trail for demonstrating targeted and also data-driven retrieval. Segment by number one, your digital first retrieval. Always start here. Your CCDs, your EMR portals, your HIEs, direct provider system APIs. Why? Because the digital first are cheapest. They are also the fastest and highest compliance yield. They also reduce your chase burden even before the chase season starts. Set a Q4 goal to have at least 50% of your chase ready chart pre-retrieved digitally even before January of 2026. Segment by high volume fax retrieval, ideally for providers not digitally connected, but historically very responsive to your retrieval efforts. So use batch faxing to send the gap list and evidence request forms, right? And maintain turnaround time SLAs flag with providers who are slow to respond early. Your third chart retrieval segmentation should be your on-site abstraction, which should be reserved for critical gaps only. These are members driving your measured thresholds, high impact providers with no digital or no fax support, and also build an on-site schedule early in Q4, right? Ensure that you coordinate with providers and secure escalation pathways for access approvals. Example, Plan X did not segment their chase list, so it led to on-site volume spike by 40%, which led to retrieval cost tripling. On the other hand, Plan Y, they prioritized digital first retrieval and faxed first. On the other hand, Plan Y prioritized digital first strategy and also fax first approach, which led to reducing on-site visits by 30% and saving about $220,000 in cost. The first step you need to consider with your chase list strategy is plan for address gaps early. One of the biggest silent killers of retro season is missing or outdated provider demographics. Audit provider and facility addresses now. Match provider roster with your credentialing data. If possible, use third parties to verify provider addresses. Flag high-risk providers. If possible, use third parties to validate provider addresses and flag high-risk providers, and that is clinics with more than 10% returned mail last season. And also work with provider engagement teams to update any missing contact points, right? To ensure you build a dynamic chase list dashboard. A living dashboard will keep your chase strategy data-driven all season. Your dashboard KPIs can include percentage of compliance ready charts, percentage of digitally retrieved versus manual retrieval, high yield provider completion rates, retrieval turnaround times, abstraction backlog by measure. The third pillar is aligning provider strategy early by sharing your gap list with providers even before the season, if possible in January or February, and also leverage provider attestations where allowed, because it will save you time and retrieval cost and also accelerate compliance. The fourth pillar is year-round audit readiness. NCQA PSV expectations are tight. So establish an audit binder strategy in Q4. These are your data source definitions, your retrieval logs, provider attestation, supplemental data, approvals. A pro tip here, ensure that you treat every supplemental record as if you would defend it in an audit tomorrow. The fifth pillar is resource and vendor optimization, and ensure that you review your retrieval vendor SLAs. Are turnaround times realistic? Do they support digital first retrieval? Build a QI capacity plan by ensuring that you have abstraction staffing, retrieval search plans, and escalation pathways. This is an execution timeline I will recommend. September to October of 2025, use this time frame to validate your data and refresh your roster. In November of 2025, provider gap notifications. You send it out. Your attestation request. In December 2025, finalize your chase strategy. Lock vendors in. And in January 2026, begin early digital retrieval to capture your early wins. Then in February to May of 2026 is executing your hybrid chase season completion like never before. My final recommendation is to start your Q4 readiness hurdles with quality, with stars, with HEDIS, risk adjustment, provider engagement, your vendor teams. Now, with vendors, failing to test vendors early would lead to throughput bottlenecks in April. So you want to pay attention to that. Build a retro readiness scorecard. You should have your data completeness percentage, your chase list accuracy percentage, your retrieval success rate, and also treat your retro prep as a year-round function. Now, the plans that will win in 2026 are already preparing. So start cleaning your data, tighten your chase list, and engage your providers, and make sure you align your vendors before January hits. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also click on the bell notification so you'll be notified anytime I upload a video. Let's make your MY 2025 retro season your most successful yet.